right, I'll raise my case. Remember Blue? Hi, Tony Cantwell here. How the devil are you? Welcome to the show. I'm not feeling good. I'm a little bit under the weather, aren't we all, says you? Well, hardly over the weather. I make that joke all the time. Is it a joke or is it fucking shit? I don't feel good. I don't feel so good. I feel like I've conjunctivitis coming on. And I got a conjunct to fight this because it fucking sucks. Let me tell you, when you got a family, look at the kids getting away with it, right? When you got a family, you got 2 kids, and you don't even think, this is something you never even need to consider, all right? This is you normal, the layman. He was a notorious layman. He would sleep around and everything got explained to him in the simplest of terms. They call me the layman, so let me explain this to you in the simplest of terms. I like you. I don't fancy you. And that reminds me of, do you remember, I'll probably talk about this guy, Fleece Johnson, the booty master. Fleece Johnson, a guy very public in his love of prison booty. I would never call it such. I mean, it was absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But he goes, I just think about this line all the time. He's giving an interview and he goes, I love booty. And sometimes booty, a man's butt, is more important than drinking water. More important than drinking water. I don't love it that much. Personally, DeBussy, hey, love me some Claire de Lune. Bloom, blue, bloom, blue, blue, bloom, blue, 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 blue. But I don't love Debussy that much as to, being the fire or whatever. What am I talking about? They call me the layman. Let me explain this to you in the simplest terms. I like you. And kissing you is more important than drinking water. Problematic accent. Hey, why did I even bring it up? But I've not been feeling very well, I have to say. And this is something you don't even need to consider, right? I think I've got conjunctivitis. I think I have to conjunctifight this. There's 8 eyes. Here's a little riddle for you. There's 8 eyes in this family. I never even needed to consider that before, how many eyes we have. But the idea that if one gets it, who's texting me? Oh, it's Killian. I'll get back to him in a second. Hey, we're on my time right now, all right? If you're a fan of the Young Hot Guys, and now this is Daddy's weekend, all right? Things are a little bit sloppier. I think this is the perfect description of this podcast. This is kind of like your big divorced dad energy. You're there with your family at Young Hot Guys, and then on the weekends you get me. And to be honest, you can have my bed. I'll sleep on the couch. And I feel like I'm doing you a service in doing that, young fella. But in reality, you just feel guilty about it. You feel guilty that I sleep on the couch. Not in my dad's case. He was, we had bunk beds for us. Oh, God. Divorced dads. Divorced dads. Hey, it could happen. I really hope it doesn't. It could happen. Anyway, what was I saying? There's 8 eyes. And if one catches it, it could spread to any one of the 8 eyes. This is what I have to consider. And then it can also pass between your own eyes. Pass between the eye of a needle. A little riddle for you. What am I talking about? So anyway, we're here. You're here. I'm going to move on. I hope you're keeping well. I've not been feeling very well. And I love my children so dearly. And I've talked about this. I've talked about the social contract, about how you have to act as if, and I make jokes about it, all the time, about an inconvenience or whatever the kids are. I'm just saying there are 2 things that live. There are 2 wolves, right, that exist on my shoulder at the same time, right? And one is that I've never been so happy in my life, and the other is I'm grieving the loss of independence, and they both exist at the same time. Crazy, huh? Tell me how that works. Hey, Sphinx, figure this out. On one shoulder I have a wolf who's the happiest they've ever been, and on the other I'm grieving my independence. Which one do I feed? The answer is man. The answer is dad. Is this comprehensible? Doesn't matter. and I've talked about this in terms of there's so much to the kids. Of course, what they give you. Never been so happy. I feel like I'm on yips a couple of times a day with no come down. Is what parenting is, you know. A smile, and you can't. You normally it would be very inappropriate to come up at first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock. Yet I do when my daughter smiles. You know, when I give Terry a coffee and she kisses me on the cheek. You know what I mean? Look, is this gay? No, because I'm in a heterosexual relationship, but it's fine. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, but also at the same time, they also take away your independence and your social life and the drop of a hat plans, the cinema, Marhampla. I've already detailed it a huge list. That might be an upcoming episode. The top 20 things that parenting takes away. And another one of the things is a guilt-free sick day. Now you might say COVID has already done that, but I was laid up in bed. When I say laid up, I text that to people and I was like laid up, and it made me again feel like the absolute layman. You know, I'm laid up, if you know what I mean. It made it sound, sexy or something when I was like, I'm laid up in bed. Most people probably don't have that thought. But also, I look at a jellyfish sometimes and I'm like, what's going on there? You know what I mean? Who is she? What's going on with it? I know it would sting. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, sorry about that. Of all the things, a fucking proper, legit sick day. I remember I called in sick to a job. It was the one that I was working at for free, that I got fired from in City Channel, and I got fired from them even though I was working for free. But I kept coming in late, or sometimes not at all, because it was really far away. And I remember one time they were like, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm actually in the hospital with my friend because his dad died." Didn't say the name of a friend. So now I don't know if that means dealer's choice to the fates to kill, in terms of jinx, to kill one of my friend's dads. But I was like, I acted real like fucking, do you know what? I could actually be thick about this. Not that anyone would. I called and I was like, I actually can't, like, where are you? And I was almost like, make you feel bad now. I'm actually in the hospital because my friend's dad's after dying. So, and they just said, whatever. And they hung up. And I called back. And I said, I feel like you don't believe me. I said, you don't believe me. Like, what, like, fucking grandstanding. Like, you fucking, hey, this could be real. And if it was, you'd actually have to be much nicer to me about this. You know? And they were like, oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm sorry to hear that. But it isn't that hard to let me know via text or whatever that you're not coming in. Okay. So, they hadn't died. I was in bed. I was a mess as a young fella. I know you're hearing this and like, this is crazy. I've seen comments under this podcast saying, you sound like young you sounds like an insane person. And I was just very confused and very stressed, and I would put so much stress on myself. Like, I remember I used to, if ever there was something that I really felt like, I have to make that on time. And I've done this probably 50 times in my life. I'm like, all right, I have to get up at 9 so I can make it there for 10. So I'm going to stay up all night and not sleep. Sleep appears to be the problem. It's like some fucking like AI movie of like, all right, the problem here appears to be the concept of sleep. That seems to be the thing that's interfering. If I don't sleep, like that, in the way they worry that the AI, if you have a solution for, can you solve global hunger, militant AI, and they just kill everyone, and they're like, now no one's hungry, that kind of thing. That was the kind of my very, all right, sleep appears to be the problem here. Not going to bed early, I cannot tell you, and this is so boring. Going to bed early. Going to bed early is the solution to absolutely every single problem that I can think of in my life. Mood, energy, organization, productivity. You know, parenting, like every single thing. And then there's people, like, it's not fair. Do you know what I mean? It's not fair that we're walking around, we're sharing a world with people who go to bed early and some people who don't. It's completely unfair. The people who don't go to bed early, I'm not saying just be vilified, because I spend the majority, 99.99999% of my life not going to bed early. And I still don't. But I feel like people who don't go to bed early, go to bed late, or even just at a normal hour. No, this would be easier. The people who go to bed early should have to walk around with one of those little sim diamonds over their heads, you know? The green diamonds. Just so you know. Ah, fuck, yeah, no shit. He's a fucking early fucking sim. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when you're in a meeting and, like, you just haven't slept or you've gone to bed super late. You went to bed at like 4 a.m. because you're mad. You looked at the clock at 1 and you're like, Jesus. And then you're like, fuck it. And then it's all of a sudden it's 2:30 and you're like, now it's fucking lawless land. La la land. Lawless land. I haven't spoken to anyone else today, by the way. So this is why I'm coming with this energy. And then all of a sudden it's 4 o'clock and you're like, all right, that is actually taking the piss. And then by the time you actually fall asleep, it's 4:30. And then you're up at like 7. You're like, this is crazy that just happened. And it happens all the time. And then you go into work and you fucking horse 2 espressos into you in a little canteen machine. And then you're there, you have a meeting first thing, which is fucking brand new information to you. Even though you knew about it yesterday, brand new information right now. And you feel as if the chief from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is pressing a pillow firmly on your head the entire time you're there in the meeting. And you got fucking, what's his name over there, being like, oh, and do you know what we could do? We could do this, and this. I'm happy to head up that team if you want. Yeah, I'm happy to look at that. Did you guys have a look at the email I sent out? You know, this person who isn't even the boss. You know what, motherfucker? And then you look over and this motherfucker's got a green diamond over his head. You're like, even though I should be looking after myself a little bit better. These early fucking birds, man, they get everything. Worms, discounted prices in restaurants before the theatre. Sometimes cheaper electric picnic tickets, maybe. I don't know. I haven't bought one in years. I get mine for free. You know. But anyway. What was it saying? Yeah, it was a mess. Anyway, so the children have also taken away having just a legitimate sick day, just lying there. I was actually sick. But also kind of fucking freaking out, to be honest, because I don't know what it is. I don't know what my body is like. Like, I don't know, is this peak performance? I'm going to give myself a break. It's hard to know when you're sick these days. Because there's so many different things you can do. And the kind of barrier point for entry is so low because you got a phone. You know, it's not like I would be too sick to get up and get dressed and travel that far to go into that place and sit down with a piece of paper. I'd be too sick for that. So I'm not coming in. You know? But nowadays it's like, are you too sick to say yes or no to this email? Probably not. But you know what I mean? Where's the line? Are you too sick to make silly videos? I wasn't. I was making promotional videos for my gig in Blanchardstown when I was sick. But also it was kind of insane. Kind of an insane video. I was also trying to goad the people of Portlaoise into giving me Portlaoise references by saying Portlaoise Plaza was the most Portlaoise place in Portlaoise. No one took the bait. Because no one's a moron. No one, not a moron. Starting a fucking flame war with the people of Portlaoise. What was it thinking? I also wrote, I missed out on doing Young Hot Gags, which is a new material night that we do. me and Shane and Killian do. And I sent them these jokes, and I was like, can you tell me if these jokes are any good? Can you try them out on stage? And here's one. Quantum particles apparently exist in all possible states until an observation is made, which basically means that electrons behave differently when monitored. Yeah, that's exactly what I told that driving centre twat. They were so angry at me when they had to read these. And this is one I wrote for Killian, which he read as if it was mine. Went to a spa in Istanbul, but in the middle of the treatment, my mother walked in and started saying celebrities' names wrong. That's the last time I do an Irish "ha, ma'am," because that's what you laugh at when your ma does. But it's not good, do you know what I mean? So I was all over the place. So I was not fit. That's a situation where I should have had communication cut off from me. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. I was in London there, and thank you very much if you came to see me, Top Secret Comedy. I had a wonderful time. It was a lot of fun. I hope to get back over there again this year. And thank you again to the wonderful Ciara Barnes, who was supporting me. They're fantastic. Also, so Greg had a good time, had a good gig. I thought I had a genius idea, which was to pay a bit more for my flight over there, British Airways. All right? And if you think I'm some fucking taking the soup motherfucker, absolutely. I have zero pride in our airlines. And Aer Lingus is a fucking wolf in sheep's clothing as well. Don't be acting like Ryanair's obviously way worse, you know. But when you break it down, if you're flying into fucking Stansted and you're getting the Stansted Express as well, and then everything else you need to fucking buy with your ticket, it's not that much of a difference. So I thought I'd pay a bit more and I'll save on the room by sleeping in a capsule hotel. And as you know, I'm somewhat of a claustrophile. I love it, man. In close spaces, love it. You know, if we ever got a fridge or something big when I was young for the box game, guess what? I'm living in the box. I'm living in a cardboard box. All right? For up to, I remember 3 weeks spent in the box. I have to go to bed, of course, but I get my meals in the box. I cut a little slit. And I put my finger out and be like, because that's how I talk to my mum. Hey! I know, just at mealtime, she put the plate in there. And also, when I ever saw like prison movies, solitary confinement, I'm like, that actually looks class. And there's not any Fleece Johnsons in there as well, which bodes well for me. Mom put drinking water. Anyway, so I thought capsule hotel, great, £28. Do you know what I mean? And it was right around the corner from where I was gigging, so I thought that'd be class. And I went in, it was fine, it's great. Brought a small bag, even though to be fair, British Airways allowed me to bring a 10 kg bag that I could have brought it or checked in as part of the ticket, but I didn't avail of that because I knew that it wouldn't fit in my capsule hotel. And then I got the capsule or whatever. Now, I will say, the rows of these things looks like a fucking morgue. When I went in there, I was expecting one of them just to kind of pull one of them out on a little gurney and be like, is that your twin brother? You know? Then yes, you can participate in the Avatar program. You know? Did you ever see the start of Avatar? So, you know, it has that kind of vibe. Wi-Fi is fucking shocking. It's in bad. And my roaming data was a bit, look, with respect, and I don't know what kind of phone you have, don't be giving me fucking 4, don't be giving me 3G, don't be giving me 4G. Just tell me the phone's broken if I'm getting anything other than 5G. All right? I don't even want messages coming through. 5G are fucking nothing these days. Don't be fucking around with 4G. So that was a bit of an issue. Another issue was, you know, I had a hotel, technically, and mine was kind of tucked away around a corner, not with no one else around. And, you know, it's a hotel, late at night, got an early enough night. I'm like, oh, you know, let's have a little goo. What's going on online? And then it was asking me to submit a picture of myself. I'm like, this is the opposite of what I want here. The UK government saying, hey, you want to have a look at that? Let's have a look at you. Because there's a thing now where you have to verify your age if you want to have a look at that, and like, you know, a bit silly online. And so I was like, what the fuck is this? So I click on it, and then it kind of and then it went to the selfie camera, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to see me lurched on my, you know, in this tiny fucking coffin. You know, like with that kind of, you know, I didn't have an anticipation face or anything. But also, I guarantee, like, no one's doing this in the UK, apparently. No one's actually, everyone's using a VPN if they ever want to look at something silly. But, like, the people who are submitting their photo so that an AI can scan it and verify their age based on how they look, they're definitely not doing it the first time. You know what I mean? Uploading a photo of themselves. Like, they're probably like, I don't want to do that. Forget it. It's not worth it. Which is a good deterrent away from that as, you know, as an addiction if people have that. I don't. And so, and so it's a good deterrent. And then, but then they probably go on a second time. They're like, all right, gives a look at you. And they're like, nope. I feel like I'm back in the fucking MSN chat room days. Gives a look at you. Nope. No webcam. And then I'd say by the third or fourth, maybe it's the fifth time. So by the fifth time, someone has to be so fucking quantumly horny, like fucking nuclear horny and desperate to see a tit that they eventually concede. And that's when they upload the photo. And I tell you, I hope it never gets leaked. But if it does, I need to see that gallery. I need to see the gallery, the rogues gallery of desperate wankers, you know, people who, okay, fine, but I need, you know, like, I need this. I don't care. Right now, I don't care if this photo is used for anything. I need to see something silly right now. I saw Flatmate having a wank one time, all right? I'm sorry. I saw Flatmate having a wank before. And it changed things, not between our relationship or whatever. I was able to respect its privacy, you know. I never brought it up. But it changed. So basically, I was coming home. The blinds were kind of up. And they were watching something on the telly in the sitting room, pulling the plum off himself. And I could see it. And the most shocking thing about it was their dead eyes. Was their emotionless dead eyes. You know, like just, well, this has to be done. You know, this has to be done. And like, you think of people having a wank and you think, ooh, you know, lecherous creeps, you know, or someone trying to be like, pull a, whatever sexy face is wanking. I don't think one exists, but whatever, right? Some saucy. When the reality is, probably, I've never been mindful enough to consider my own face when I'm having a wank. But it's probably just dead eyes. It was the dead eyes. Like a doll's eyes, Chief. You ever seen a wanker's eyes, Chief? They're black. Like a doll's eyes. And it's always stuck with me, and I've never said it out loud. And I imagine that's probably what it is, you know. The rogues gallery of sad wankers that the UK government has is probably just like emotionless dead eyes with just a glint of sadness. You know what I mean? You know those amazing actors who can just portray even more, even with micro expressions. Gotta see that shit. And get my photo back off them, to be honest. GDPR, actually. GDPR. I went to Dublinia. Linia. Hey, you had your fun. Get the fucking you back in there. Get your fucking you back in there. You get your fucking you back in there. You're after spelling Dublin, you're wrong. And don't fucking tell me it's ye olde fucking shit. Just fix it. Actually, do I feel that? Hey, it's kooky, it's different. Very my style. Keep the V in there. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't know what my stance was on having a V after the D in Dublin. Anyway, young fella likes Vikings, got this book about Vikings, and he was reading it. I was reading it to him, and it was an English book, so from the English perspective, and I was talking about when the Vikings invaded England, and then he was like, "Oh, the Vikings invaded England," and I said, "Yeah," and then they also invaded Ireland. I was like, "Yeah," and then England invaded Ireland, and I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Oh, so maybe they deserved it, the English." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe." We love it though. We fucking like the Dubs and fucking Waterford. We just love Vikings so much. And we actually, to be honest, have a shared enemy with the English, the Norwegians. But we just like them so much. You know? I don't know what it is. They're just Vikings so cool. And you're reading about it and they're like, they fucking burned fucking women to the, burned houses of women and children in there. And you're like, okay, class for some reason. Not that specifically, but you know what I mean? And they killed everyone. We just love it for some reason. And I'm just wondering, because where's the statute? Is it Battle of Clontarf? Is it like because the Battle of Clontarf was that far away that we've had all this time? I'm just wondering about 1,000 years. Are we going to look at the Brits the same way? There might not be the Viking splash tour, but will there be, the Lord Nelson splash tour, or driving around in black cabbies, everyone wearing bowler hats. Now be sure to roar at everyone as you pass. Rah! Oh, good. Well, we love it. And then the Brits came in and allowed home rule or something. I don't know what you'd celebrate in the same way. Going through Dublin in a kind of like sick fascination way of the colonization of Ireland at the hands of the Brits. Where, I don't know, they're like, I don't know what's funny about it. That's maybe the difference. That's maybe the difference. What's the crack with how in supermarkets now when you're doing your food shop, they got rid of that little slide. More and more supermarkets don't have the little slide. It goes along the conveyor belt, gets scanned, and then it goes, wee, there goes my chicken. Wee. On top of the bread. Ooh. It's a fun little thing. And then you have and then it's like a big ball pit. You can just pick up all of the shopping, and the person can still do their job. Scan food. Because right now they've replaced the slide with a fucking windowsill for some reason. They thought that would be better. And I know why. Hey, I know why. Because you think I'm going to move faster. When really what you've done is you've nerfed my ability to move fast. All right, if that's how you want to play it, fine. If you want to give me a windowsill, if you want to nerf your scanners, your scanner ladies, if you want to nerf my ability to get it in the trolley in a good enough time, because you see people fucking sweating buckets. Terry would feel obliged to sweat buckets to get the shit in the trolley, not me. So what Terry will do is she'll do the shop. She'll leave the trolley there, take a picture of it. I'll come in like the fucking cooler. A boom, 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 boom. Is this the trolley? Boom, 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 boom. And I'll walk up to the till. I'll fill up the conveyor belt till it's chugging. Poor scanner lady scanned 4 grapes. They're taking up the till. There's nothing else for her to scan because there's no space to put it. And I'm still stacking it up. And then I heard, this happened to me multiple times. I've had I've heard that. Or I've heard, people being like, what is it? What is it you're tutting? What is it you're tutting, tuts? Is it my needs? That my needs are too great? Would you like if I had fewer demands? Would you like if I had fewer necessities? Would you like if my kids were gone? Is that what you're saying, babe? Is that what you're saying? You're tutting away because I have a big fucking stack of wipes? Because the till is taken up with my 32 fucking bog rolls? Is that what you're tutting about? You're tutting about my life and the fact that my kids need to eat and wipe their ass? You want my kids to have shitty asses? Is that what you're saying? What is the reality here? What is the egregious sin? But of course I don't say any of that, and I don't even feel it. I fill up that conveyor belt, and then when the conveyor belt is full, I'll walk around and I'll start putting stuff. I'll pop out the bags individually, right? So I'll be frozen, I'll have me chilled, I'll have any kind of cleaning, and I'll have everything else. Putting 5 bags in there, 2 for kind of pantries, 1 fridge, 1 freezer. I'll have it all there, and then I'll put it in. Because either tell me I have a time limit, tell me that you need me out of here in 5 minutes. If that's the policy, fine. I might have to shop somewhere else, but fine. That's the policy. But this subtle little removing of the playing space to increase the pressure, it's almost like it's like changing the size of a wrestling ring so that people have to engage more. Do you know what I mean? It's almost this, you're changing the scenarios to up the stakes, to up the speed. It's like a new fucking fin on a Formula One car. Do you know what I mean? Just talk to me as a human being. You need me out of here in 5 minutes, that's fine. But don't be all fucking acting like I need to fucking speed through this shit by shortening the till and getting rid of the slide. Because it's not going to fucking work on me. I'm not rushing for any cunt. I ain't rushing for any cunt. All right? I'm not being slow, but I'm not playing fucking sports here. I'm on my fucking holiday scanning this shit. Since all of my other fucking independences have been taken away. Give me a fucking langer of a till. Where's the biggest till? Anyway, that's what's been on my mind. And this last thing I wrote, not interesting. It says I may never go to a nightclub again. Which is just, I think, a fact, really. Anyway, can I tell you something? Do you want to hear something cool? I'm going to be in Blanchardstown in Draiocht, the Draiocht Theatre, this Friday the 13th. Hopefully nothing spooky or unlucky happens. Do you know, I'm going to walk, actually, yeah, that'd be fucking class. I'm going to walk under a ladder. So come to see that show. I'm going to do the Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels ladder match thing, where Razor Ramon walks under the ladder. Boom, 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 boom. That Razor Ramon's. Anyway, there you go. Then, following that, I am going to be on 3/20, bro. March 20th, I'm going to be in DeBarras. Oh, baby, when DeBoves in Cork. I'd love to see you there. I love me some Cork. And then I'm going to be in the Abbey Tavern. That's almost sold out. That's on the 21st of March. My ma's going to be there. And then I'm going west to Galway, to Monroe's. That is April 11th. The last time I was in Galway, it was a beautiful, scorching hot day. And I regretted not staying down to have a bit of a dip in the sea. So hopefully this time I'll might partake there while I'm out. April 18th. The biggest one, to be fair, in terms of size and scope, and also the fact that I'm going to be recording it for a special, is going to be Vicar Street in Dublin on April 18th. If you want to be part of a live DVD, do I need to have asked them permission for this first? Hey. Beg for forgiveness, eh? That's going to be on April 18th. I would love to see you there. Cyprus Avenue in Cork. It's a rock and roll venue. Well, guess what? I'm a rock and rolling kind of guy. Call me Tony Gallagher. Rory Gallagher. I'm not a fan of his music. April 24th. I'm happy for everyone in Cork to have him. But this tune's not for me, to be honest. I'll give him another shot. I'm sorry about that now. I feel like I'm being in a bit of a flame war kind of, bit of a fucking edgelord kind of mood today now, so I'm sorry about that. I'm going to be in the Spirit Store in Dundalk. I'm going to split the Spirit on May 2nd. I'm going to be in the Spirit Store on May 2nd. Is that it? Why am I burning all my fucking bridges? Please come to these gigs. I'm going to be in Dolan's in Limerick on May 8th. I am going to be in fellow Viking lover Waterford's hometown at the Bank Lane Theatre on May 24th. So we can celebrate our love of Vikings, the shared enemy we share with the Brits. I'm going to be in the Pavilion in Dunleary. Now, not to be confused with the gazebo that's out on the piers. I'm not gigging there. I'm gigging in the Pavilion Theatre. The Limelight 2. Not the Limelight 1. You're not that big. In Belfast on the 29th of May. Would love to see you there. On the 4th of June, I'm going to be at the Moat Theatre in Kildare. I'd love to see you there. Hopefully I can get in the bloody Moat Theatre. Hopefully someone's left the bridge down. Hopefully left the drawbridge down. And then I'm going to be in the Mill in Dundrum on the 5th of June. I'd love to see you there as well. In the Mill. I tell you, we'd be fucking milling, taking fucking shots of each other, milling digs or whatever. I don't know. Windmill. Anyway, I'd love to see you there. It's going to be funnier than this was. It's actually it's actually the fucking best show I've ever done. And it's really funny and I love it. And every show has been brilliant because crowds have been amazing, of course, but also the jokes are funny. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know. I'm a bit delirious here. Call me Eddie Murphy because I'm a donkey.